If you were no longer affected by the judgment of others and you stopped judging yourself, would you make different choices? Everyone has the potency to make inspired choices. Get ready to listen, share, and experience the creativity that is you. Now, here's the host of Inspired Choices Radio Show, Possibilities Coach, Christine McIver.
Well, welcome everyone to the Inspired Choices Radio Show. Yes, I am your host, Christine McIver. So happy to have you with me, whether you're listening live or you're listening in the replay. It is wonderful to have you along for the ride. And so tonight we are talking about be your own inspiration. Inspiration is obviously a big theme in my world, in my life. The network is called Inspired Choices. My radio show, my business, Inspired. It's all about inspiration. And it's a word that I often look at. And I thought, you know what? This might be a cool topic to invite all of us into, myself included, into more about how can we be our own inspiration. So before we get deep into the show tonight, I'd like to tell you a bit about myself, let you know who I am and what I do and what I can be doing to inspire the world around me and even self. So I am a professionally trained coach, and I actually work with individuals and businesses in many different areas. One of the main areas I work with individuals is really having them to step into even more, stepping into more of what you desire, creating more of what it is that you desire, whether it's in business, it's starting a business, expanding a business, and maybe looking at new areas of your business. I love to do business. In fact, I have a program called The Pleasure of Business. I also work with individuals and organizations around relationships. I was in human resources for 25 years, and a great area that I loved in human resources was all about the relationship with the employee, to their position, to their team, to their managers, the organization's relationship to their teams and their individuals. So I've done a great deal of that. I love also working with people of all ages. I work with teenagers. I've worked with couples, individuals around relationships, and most importantly, the relationship with yourself. So that's an area that I absolutely love to dive into. It's certainly something that in my own life I have really dove into. And of course, we often say we teach what we often need to learn. And so these are the areas within me that I have done a great deal of personal development in, and I now know that there is a great deal I've learned, and I would love to share that with you. If that's something that you're looking for, we can certainly connect and talk about that. One of the biggest things that I really love to do is work with individuals to bring them into the areas of their life where they desire to have greater, but kind of feel like there's a block. All right. Here's what I know. Each and every one of us has the answers that we require within ourselves. That I absolutely know. But sometimes when we have someone working with us, beside us, supporting us, be showing us the truth of who we are, inviting us into expanding, sometimes even giving us a good deserved kick in the ass, can be one of the greatest things in the world. You know, life coaches first started out about, I think it was about 30 years ago, and they began because of the ceiling that the entrepreneurs, the CEOs would hit. They would be at basically the top of the ladder, and they would be there alone, and they would not have someone to confide in. They would not have someone that would challenge them. And this is where the whole life coaching experience evolved out of. So if you're an entrepreneur, if you're someone who is self-employed, you're thinking about being self-employed, or you're someone that's a leader within your community, you're a leader within your family, and you feel like you maybe have plateaued, or you really need someone to help guide you to your next level of your desires, That's where and I would love to work with you. I give everyone, of course, an initial consultation where we get to know each other and see if there's a good fit. And then after that, we talk about what would work, what kind of stuff that you really desire to have going forward. So please do connect with me. You can check out all of my programs on my website, inspiredchoices.ca. And of course, you can always send me an email, Christine at inspiredchoices.ca. All right, so let's get into tonight's show. Be your own inspiration. Now, we all know that the world is full of inspiration. It just depends where you're looking. A lot of us, we will be seeing that there's a lot of chaos, there's a lot of turmoil, there's a lot of conflict, there's a lot of anger and hate and sadness and poverty and abuse in the world. Yes, there is that. But there also is a great deal of inspiration. And it really does depend upon you and where you focus, where you actually look for what it is that you desire. I know many of us kind of hooked on the trauma and drama. We get hooked on the news. We then get into a state after we've been really hooked on the news. We then get into a state of, oh my gosh, what else is going on? And I don't know about you, but lots of people wake up in the morning and the first thing they do is they go to the news on their phone. There's nothing wrong with that, but what is that contributing to your day? What is that filling up within you? Is the news actually inspiring you? Or is it putting you into a state of anxiety and fear? I've had people say to me, because I'm not a regular news watcher. I am aware of what's going on, but I'm not a big news watcher. And I've had people say to me, in fact, my beautiful mother has said to me, Christine, why don't you know that this is going on? You should know what's going on. You should be watching the news. And I, with all kindness, I say to her and to other people, what is that going to change in the world? If I'm acutely aware of all the finite details of the experiences of the Christians, of the trauma and drama in the world, what is that really going to create for me and for everyone else? What I know is that when I am in a state of joy and energy, of happiness, I'm in the place of knowing that I can contribute to my own life and other people's lives with this kindness, with the possibilities, with the creative awareness that we can have greater. I know that thing that makes the difference in my world and in other people's world. If I'm in a state of panic, if I'm in a state of worry, if I am carrying on with this fear energy underneath me, that does not contribute me, and it certainly does not contribute to other people. Now, be aware of what's going on. Yeah, you can get the Coles notes in a lot of different places, but to be completely enmeshed in all of the finite details of the entities that's going on all around the world, that's not going to actually be a big contribution to you. All you need to do is look at people who actually are connected to the news, are stuck in that pattern, and look at how they've aged. Look at their skin. Look at their health issues. When we attach to all of this, it will reverberate within the cells of our body, and it will start to break down our bodies. So that's one of the really big things. Where are you looking? All right? And what if you didn't require looking outside of yourself for inspiration? What if you actually had a reservoir of inspiration within yourself that you could tap into at any time that you needed? Would that actually be something that you would be interested in about? Is that something that you would actually be surprised by, perhaps, that you have that within you? Now, I'm not saying in the least bit that not actually bring in all the inspiration around you from great writers and poets and music and amazing feats of kindness and contribution and art and great innovative ideas. Those are phenomenal. But one of the biggest areas that we lack is actually finding, tapping, and utilizing the inspiration that we have within us. And that's what I really want to talk about tonight. So is now the time to be your own inspiration? In a world where there is, this instantaneous information coming at us all the time, whether we're driving down the road, we're at work, we're sitting with our family, wherever we are, we're working within our own business, and in a moment's notice, there can be trauma, there can be difficulty, all right? When you have the capacity within yourself to reach inside and pull out inspiration within yourself, that is going to be like a breath of fresh air that takes you to the next step. You do know you have it within you. Are you ready to make that your go-to location in moments of difficulty? Moments of difficulty, my friends, are not here to break you down. They're actually here to inspire you. The moments of difficulty can have you reach within you to a capacity that you had no idea that you had. And it's in those moments of difficulty where you may even surprise yourself with the capacities that you have. I have a family member that, they have decided that their life is very incredibly difficult, okay? And yes, there has been some difficult things. But then there is some tragedy. There is some massive difficulty coming up in their world. They step up and they are able to lead and inspire and take care of others around them when they otherwise cannot. And that's fascinating to me. I look at that and I'm really fascinated by that. And what actually goes on. And I believe we have programmed, our minds have been programmed. We have a pattern within our brains of when we have to actually step up. It's similar to the fight or flight. But it's this reaction within us that says, somebody needs me, and I need to step up. In times of difficulty, I've got what it takes. Well, what if you don't have to have a super difficult time within your life, and you can step into that energy of inspiration for you? Yeah. We've come into a world where, there's different schools of thought where, we have to suffer. I don't believe that, but that's where some people believe that what we have to do. Other people believe that some religions believe that that's paying homage to their God to suffer. Some people believe if they suffer enough, they will get into heaven. Some people believe it's just their lot in life to suffer. I believe it's our given right to be in joy and to have prosperity. I do believe that. And I do know that any challenge, difficulty I have been in my life, that I have created within my life, and that's a whole other conversation about creating it, but I do know that any of those have actually fueled me to reach deep within inside of me and who I am and who I desire to be even greater. And those moments of growth, they actually tap into the exact areas where I desire to be more. So moments of difficulty will not last unless you choose them, unless you keep feeding that monster of difficulty and pain and challenge. But what you have within you, my friend, each and every one of us, we have inspiration within ourselves. We have things that will inspire others around us. And I believe that now is the time. Now is the time. The world requires us to inspire ourselves so that we too can contribute to ourselves and the world exponentially. There are many amazing people in the world, many amazing things that are going on that can inspire us and do inspire us to choose greater. But now's the time for each and every one of us to reach within ourselves, to find that inspiration that can change our world and contribute to the world as well. And you do not have to do something that is absolutely mind-blowing. Be an inspiration. So we're going to go for our first break of the night, and when we get back, I want to dive into this even greater and what inspiration really is and how we can be that more and more for ourselves. If you have any questions, comments, please join us in the chat room or give us a call. You can call from the U.S. 85880-8255 or Canada 613-800-8736. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and anything that I can contribute, please don't hesitate. So you are listening to Christine McIver on the Inspired Choices radio show here on the Inspired Choices Network, where we're talking tonight about Be Your Own Inspiration. We'll be right back.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning in to Inspired Choices radio show with Possibilities coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices radio show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Inspired Choices radio show with Possibilities coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@InspiredChoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
So what inspires you, my friends? What actually speaks to you? What actually lights you up and really pulls you into knowing that something greater is possible? Whatever that is, you have that within you. Whatever turns you on and lights you up, that gives you the knowing that this is absolutely amazing, that you have that within you. You have that within you. You can recognize that. You can see that as something that is absolutely amazing. You too have that within you. And you know that on some level. I would love to have comments in the chat room about something that's inspired you, and then I will show you how you have that within you. And if you're inclined to call in, I would love to do that with you as well. I have so many things that have inspired me where people have stood up in the world, where they have actually shared what they know, their level of kindness, their level of acknowledging other people. I have seen other people do that, and it brought me to tears. And you know why that's brought me to tears? Because I knew that to be true. I knew that to be true, and I knew that was within me. You see, one of the big things about inspiration is we're often looking outside of ourselves, and we're looking for somebody to fill us up. Let me tell you, first of all, the word inspire is to fill the mind, the heart with grace. It's also to prompt or induce someone to do something. So to inspire is to fill. Amazing, right? And inspired is communicated by divine or supernatural powers. Right? It's actually infused seemingly supernatural influence. Isn't that fascinating? I just find that so fascinating. And inspiration is immediate influence of God or a God, especially that which under which holy books were written. Actually, to inspire is to have the Spirit within you. To have Spirit within you. When they speak about God, when they speak about communicate divine or supernatural powers, you, my friend, you have supernatural powers. You have the capacity, the power of knowing. You know when someone is in need. You know when someone is desiring support, requiring love and kindness. You know this. That is a supernatural power, not just to acknowledge it and to know it, but to act upon it. That is inspirational. That's supernatural. When you are willing to be vulnerable and step in and help your fellow humankind, when you are willing to be the leader in the world that you would follow. Are you being the leader in the world that you would follow? You see, that's all that's really required. When you look outside of yourself to the people that have inspired you, they could be very well-known people, or they could be very next neighbor, humble people. We all have these people within us that would just blow our mind, level of kindness and contribution that they are, and they're forever giving way of being. And this doesn't mean giving to this point that are empty and everyone else is filled up. No, this is what really like is people that are strong for themselves and for people around them. Well, when that lifts me up, I know that I have that within me as well. And what I really want to know is, are you willing to acknowledge what you have within you? This is what you will, when you are willing to begin to acknowledge that, this is where you can be your own inspiration. This is where you can step into inspiring you within your life. So here's one of the greatest things that I know, and I speak to clients about this all the time. You have to, and I say it from the space of your brain will pull you into the negative so much easier than the positive. And I'll speak to that in a second. But what you really have to do, and this is an exercise I so encourage every single person to do, is to write out, whether it's in a journal or on a big board that you have in your room or your office, or even on your mirrors that you read repeatedly, or put it on notes on your fridge. But write down the things that you have chosen in your life that have lit you up, the things that you have chosen in your life that have lit up other people. Acknowledge yourself from where you are, where you have come to the moment that you are in right now. We are human beings, are continuous looking forward. We don't have eyes in the back of our head. We have them in the front of our head. Right? And we are always looking forward, and we are always going to desire more. There is nothing wrong with that. That's a great thing, because we're all going to be reaching for something greater. So if you find like, oh, I'm never satisfied, get over it. It's a great thing. That's going to actually have you step into even more, creating even more, being more of a contribution in your own world as well as other people. Desiring more and more is a fabulous thing. But here's the thing. As you continue to desire more, and you continue to create more and choose more and step in more and maybe work more and whatever else the more is in your world, you've got to stop and acknowledge what you have accomplished. What you have accomplished in your lifetime, or the last 20 years. Last 10 years, the last 5 years, the last 3 years, the last year, the last 6 months, the last month, the last week, in the last 24 hours. What have you chosen in your life that you can look at and go, you know what? Damn, I am good. Look what I have done. And maybe you need an acknowledgement partner. Maybe you need somebody that sees you when you don't see you. Getting an acknowledgement partner to sit with you and have them tell you what they see, what they have watched you do, what they have watched you accomplish is such a gift. I am so blessed with people around me that have done that with me. It has been such a great blessing, and I forget too. Even though I teach this, I forget too. And I had my beautiful niece acknowledge me and what I have chosen over the last 5 years and how I've continually expanded and stepped into greater and greater. I'm an entrepreneur, and an entrepreneur is often solo. They're on their own, making the choices and often questioning their choices. And for me, things light me up and I choose them. And then, like life is, they don't always turn out the way that we hope. And so within that, doubt can rear its ugly head. Doubt can come in and rob us of the joy and rob us of the inspiration. And so doing this accomplishment list, having an accomplishment partner, and really acknowledging where you have come will inspire you to move forward, will inspire you to choose again, will have you in that space of knowing, if I did this, I can do that. If I was a single parent, I can stand up and speak to other people. If, I struggled and I didn't have money for food, I can handle a few extra bills, right? When you acknowledge all those places and spaces, all of the things that you have maneuvered through, all of those times that you have created something amazing, where you were kind to someone, where you gifted someone the gifts that someone has gifted to you, when you were this in the world and you begin to really look at this list and fill up mind with this acknowledgement, that is humongous. It's humongous. I was working with a client yesterday, and we were talking about her business and, what did you want to talk about? And she said, and of course I'm not going to share her name, but she said, she wanted to talk about her business and growing her business and from the financial aspect, and she wanted to really have, the next year be so much greater because she really felt like, it wasn't enough and she had just broken even. And so, that's, okay, so what do we need to do, right? We go into the do space. And she had just been looking at her and going over the numbers, and so she looked at the final number. And then I backed her and I said, okay, let's look at this on a very large macro basis. And I said to her, tell me where you were 10 years ago. And she said, well, 10 years ago, I was a miserable job that I didn't enjoy. And, I asked, were you making a decent wage? And she said, yeah, it was good money. I'm like, okay. So where were you 5 years ago? She goes, I was still in that job. And I was even more miserable than I was 10 years ago. And where were you 3 years ago? And she said, well, I was just beginning my business. And where were you a year ago? And she said, well, I had just really finished my first year and I was actually adding a second business to my business. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so when we really started to break it down and look at the timeline and the numbers and look at how much she was investing and growing in her business, and she could start to see the accomplishments, she began to be her own inspiration. How many of us are using one marker in our lives to decide that we're successful, that we're happy, and we are missing those moments. We're missing those moments of joy. I love, going to the store or people somewhere and just having a quick conversation and a smile with them, and even and making eyes at babies and having them laugh. That to me is inspirational. That inspires me within myself. Those are the moments. Those are the precious moments when I know I have inspiration within me. I inspire me to continue to look at each and every moment as a possibility for something greater. It's not just the bottom line. And hey, I'm like everybody else. I get caught up in the bottom line too. But you know what? If tomorrow was my last day, the bottom line would mean nothing. The bottom line would mean absolutely nothing. So what if we actually started to change what we're marking as success? And we start to inspire ourselves by the choices that we have made. And we start to acknowledge all of the brilliance that we are being in the world right here, right now. I'm sure that each of you could look at some area of your life where you've struggled, where you've had big time difficulties, and you moved through it. It probably wouldn't take you long to look at those and look at all the things that you had to do in order to move beyond those steps. And maybe you've wanted to forget those difficulties, but there's gems in those difficulties, because those difficulties has shown you the strength of who you are. And that, my friend, that's the inspiration that's within you to take you to the next step. Okay, we are up second break of the night. I really hope you come back, because this is a show that is really asking for more and more, and I would love to hear your thoughts and your contribution. So you are listening to Christine McIver here on the Inspired Choices radio show on the Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be back right after this break. Thanks, everyone.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning in to Inspired Choices radio show with Possibilities coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices radio show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you ready to have pleasure with your business? Yes, I said pleasure with your business. The Pleasure of Business a la carte will surprise you with topics like meet yourself in the boardroom, money, services, and you. Expand your visibility. The pleasure of communication. The pleasure of Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Christine McIver has so much pleasure with business and loves teaching all things business. Beginning a new business? Desiring to expand a current business? Or looking to resurrect a business that has been dormant? This program will get you fired up and bring more pleasure than you have ever imagined. Exhausted with your excuses for not creating a phenomenal business? Join now for all the pleasure with business. Pleasure of Business a la carte gives you total choice for what you desire and what your business requires. That's 24 weeks of different topics to choose from, with weekly calls, audio and video recordings, and PDFs. This class will have you dive right in and use tools to create the business that has been speaking to you. Go to inspiredchoices.ca for full details, or join the Facebook page, Pleasure of Business a la carte. Now is the time for you and your business.
This is Inspired Choices radio show with Possibilities coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@InspiredChoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining tonight. We are talking all about inspiration and how you can be your own inspiration. So let me ask you, if you're listening to this show, do you desire to tap within you what you know is already there? Do you desire to tap within you the greatness that you be? You know, there is a lot of school of thought out there about people being their own God and each and every one being a god or a goddess. Believe that or not, I want you to know that you are an absolute phenomenal miracle in the world. In order to even break the odds of being born, I think it's 1 in a billion to get past all of the possibilities. I'm sure science has got that number somewhere. And it's absolutely phenomenal to me when we start to really look within ourselves and we start to really look at all of the places and spaces where we have overcome these possibilities of actually stepping forward and speaking and communicating and creating and laughter and contribution. We have so much within us that can really be and create something that most people never even imagine is possible. There's people in the world that don't have a lot of the privileges they have. They haven't been given the opportunity, and yet they inspire those around us. There are people in the world who step forward and they break odds. They change and they expand things into ways and spaces that nobody can ever even imagine. How did they do that? How did they possibly do this? Each every one of us have within us the capacity to be absolutely frigging amazing. It's a choice. And when you reach into who you truly be, and when you tap into the amazingness that you have within you, and get everything that you have ever done, everything that you have ever contributed in your own world and the world around you, that can be your inspiration. My friend, we require to have inspiration in the world. The world is in a great upflux of change. The world is struggling right now, and we require you. We require you in the world being your inspiration. But before any of us can be our inspiration for someone else out there, we must truly be it for ourselves. We absolutely, totally, and completely must be the inspiration within ourselves so that we can have that radiate out to the world. I'm sure that you've been around people who are doing and saying things, but there's an energy of, lack of authenticity. And there's an energy of them not actually being that for themselves. And so they actually step in and out of roles. Pick up on that. People really are quite aware, even if they are not verbalizing, that there's something off there. When you are that for yourself, you show up in the world in a very different way. Adversity may come towards you, but you don't waver off of your path. You don't waver off of the truth, who you really are. Because at your core, you are that inspiration for you. I'll never forget one of my very first teachers in this body of work was Dr. Wayne Dyer, an extremely well-known leader in the world. He passed a few years ago. But one of the things that he said that has stuck with me a very, very long time is he was doing a talk. It was on TV, and he said, if I had a lemon in my hand and I squeezed the lemon, what would come out of the lemon? And somebody said, well, lemon juice, of course. And he said, you're sure? Orange juice wouldn't come out. No. He says, water would come out. He says, no. He says, you're positive it would be lemon juice? And the gentleman said, yes. And then Dr. Wayne Dyer said, so if someone squeezed you, what would come out of you? What would come out of you? When you're in those tight moments, when you're being squeezed in your life, when life feels like the walls are closing in, what comes out of you? Does kindness, inspiration, generosity, love, is that what comes out of you? And if it's not, and that's what you desire to have come out of you, are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to really step in, do the work that's required to change that? Are you willing to look at the places and spaces within you that maybe aren't so pretty, that maybe do require some love, that maybe do require some vulnerability, so that you can be that which you desire? You see, when each and every one of us are being that with which, who and what we desire, we contribute that energy to the world. And when we collectively are all contributing that type of inspiration to the world, that's where the world shifts. That's where the changes can happen. What is it going to take for you to really be the inspiration for you? To be that soft place to land. To be that biggest cheerleader. What is it going to take for you to be willing to be bold enough to say, you know what, I do rock. You know what, I'm amazing at this. You know what, I've done this in my world. I've done that in my world. I have changed my own world. And maybe you haven't changed your own world, but maybe somewhere within you, you have it. You absolutely have it, and you're ready to reach for it. And you're ready to cultivate that day in and day out. That, my friends, is the difference between someone who is just playing the role and someone who's really willing to be. You see, the life that you have here, whether you've been reincarnation or not, this is one life. And in this, what legacy do you wish to leave? What do you wish to be known for? And most importantly, what do you want to draw out of your experience and your creation in this lifetime? That is the space where I want you to look. And that's the invitation to look to all that you have created in you and all that you have inspired. You have got it within you. You absolutely do. People are friggin' amazing when they really reach deep, especially in time trauma. There's been the most kindest things can occur in the world when collectively we come together during difficult times and tragedies. Well, I'd love to see us reach deep within us when there's not a tragedy. For us to reach deep inside when we absolutely know that we can make a difference just with a smile. That we can make a difference smiling at ourselves. Are you able to look in the eyes, in the mirror, and smile and really be present with you? It was not easy for me at first to do that. It was not easy, but it's something that I've continued to practice. And it's fun now because I actually laugh with me. And I know that I have within me and that I continue to cultivate within me the inspiration I desire for me and for the world. If you would like to be inspired, if you'd like to learn more about that, you can connect with me. I'm celebrating my 10 years in business. I have an amazing special on right now. 7 sessions with me, 7 one-hour sessions that will be taped where we'll talk about whatever it is you're looking to change, expand, have more of in your world. Those 7 sessions are for only $750 Canadian. It's a one-time promotion that I have going on, but it's a fabulous. Those sessions are normally more than double that. So if you would like to take advantage of this anniversary special, please do email me, Christine, at inspiredchoices.ca, and I would be happy to connect with you and see what we can do to bring more of that into your world. All right, we're up for our final break of the show, and so stay tuned, everyone. We'll be back right after this break where we'll talk more about Be the Inspiration for You.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning in to Inspired Choices radio show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices radio show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message? The world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. Or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. We've been talking about inspiration and about being your own inspiration. I don't know where you are in the world and what's going on with you, but regardless whether it is the holiday season, we're in the month of December right now while I'm doing this show, or it's any other of the year, whatever age you are, whatever place you are in your life, inspiration, to be inspired, to pull and tap and that reservoir of spirit within you out for yourself and for those around you is always a gift. It's always something that we can utilize, and I feel like there's never a space where that can't be accessed or required or needed or desired by people in the world. Are people that make some incredible choices to contribute to others and make some incredible choices to be these miraculous leaders in the world, and that is absolutely fantastic. But you, please know, you are a leader to someone. You are a leader in the world. You may not know who's watching you. You may not know who you are influencing, but I can assure you that someone is paying attention. Someone is watching you, and you are lighting someone up, and you are showing them a greater possibility. What I really would love for you to know, though, is the choices you make for you, about you, that is the space and place that will make a long-lasting change. You see, when we're always looking to do this for someone else, it's like we run out of the inspiration. It's like we run out of the desire, maybe for a lot of reasons. But when you're doing it first for you, and it is a trickle effect out world, that's the bonus. That's the gift. Are you willing to do that for you? Are you willing to be the inspiration that you desire? It doesn't take a great deal of change or, going to some big university school or taking big courses. It really can simply start with you looking to others around, or looking to, the things that you have created in your life, acknowledging what you have actually accomplished. And when you start to spend some vulnerable time with yourself, and you're willing to come out of being humble and really be straight up with what you have done and what you have created. And it's the small moments. It's not those great, big, huge moments. I paid off my car or I paid off my house. No. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about small moments. Like I got out of bed every day and went to a job for 10 years that I enjoy going to. That's big stuff, my friends. Or I was with people, in a workplace that really, tapped on nerves, and I was able to expand out and not allow that to bring down. Or I've been there and I was there for my family, and I continuously chose to contribute to my family in a way that created joy in the world. When you look at all of the choices that you made, the finite choices, that's what can change things for you. And that's what can actually inspire greatness in your world and in other people's worlds. I'm so grateful for you all being here, and I'm so grateful for what we get to create together each week. It inspires me each and every week. Next week, I would love you to join as well, and I'm going to have a special guest on with me, Louise Eddington. Louise is a modern astrologer, and we're going to be talking all things astrology. Louise harnesses the stars in order to really show us how we can discover our soul's true purpose. And really, she's friggin' amazing. I can't wait to tell you all about her and about my experience with Louise. I actually was gifted a wonderful time with her today, and where she showed me the brilliance and the capacity she has as an astrologist. So I know it's going to be a fabulous show with Louise next week. And if you're interested in getting a little taste of her review, you can call in during next week's show. So if you're listening in the replay, this live show with Louise is going to be on December the 19th. 2018. So we'll be looking at the future. So I always love having astrologers on at the end of December as we begin to walk into a new year. We're often looking at, okay, what's coming up? What's next? I think that's a great deal of fun. So again, thank you everyone so much for joining. Remember, I have that amazing special that I've got going on, 7 sessions for $750, where we can tap into more of your desires. Until next week, take amazing care. And remember, you can always another choice.
Inspired Choices Radio
Bye
Show.
for now, everybody.
Christine McIver will return next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have the best week of your life by making the choices that bring you all that you desire.